Welcome to After the Show, your weekly movie podcast brought to you by A. Scully and Sid Talk. We're addicted to movies. Are you? Hello, Sid Talk. Welcome to After the Show, the movie review podcast.
You didn't have a countdown. We had to do it 2 times. It's very confusing. I mean, I like chaos and a little bit of change.
I'm telling you, the movie review podcast After the Show is something you should listen to.
You're telling me?
Yeah.
I don't want to listen to it. I'm here for it. So before the After the Show discussion, as we like to call it, was just a mishmash of uninteresting marital discussion. A little bit of the movie, a little bit of what I'm doing here with some images. And, we didn't discuss what we're going to eat later. So we'll have to figure that out as we go.
And also, my robot vacuum decided to die.
Oh, yeah.
R.I.P. D-Bot.
Like I said, monotonous marital discussion.
Yeah. Okay, it's Thursday, November the 2nd, and this is After the Show number 811. We're a movie review podcast, as I mentioned at the top of the show. You can listen to us every week and have a movie reviewed right for you. You know what I'm saying? The movie we're looking at this week is Barbie. It's a 2023 release, out now on Blu-ray, 4K, streaming, and in some theaters still, I believe. It's rated PG-13. From our friends at Warner Brothers who sent us a copy for review, we're looking at the 4K disc. Sid Talk, give us the synopsis of Barbie.
I'm laughing really hard, silently, like through that whole...
It doesn't sound like you're silently laughing.
No, I mean, the whole time you're talking, I was dying because you make a little template thing to read off of. And because it's Saturday, November 4th, it's like your brain wouldn't not accept that because it's not Saturday, November 4th. And all I could think of was Ron Burgundy.
Exactly.
I'm even sitting here telling you what day it is, and you're just like, what? Like, you're staring at it like you could not process.
No.
And now we know.
Yes.
This is not... What was the question?
Synopsis for Barbie.
Barbie has an existential crisis because she's inexplicably connected to a woman in the real world. And then we have a story about the meaning of being a woman in the world.
Hey, it's pretty close to what they say.
Is
you ready?
it?
The one off the box. Barbie suffers a crisis that leads her to question her world and her existence.
Right on.
Pretty much the same thing.
Right
so, Barbie, the movie, probably one of the biggest movies of the year. What did you think?
I loved it.
I
laughed a lot. I cried a lot. Yeah. I mean, I think that's all the people need to know is that I liked it. That's it.
So me not being, I'm usually the expert on every subject every week.
Of course.
I'm the expert on Star Wars, clearly.
Are you the expert on being a woman?
No.
Okay.
So I can ask you questions since you're a woman. First off, I'm going to ask you the question, what's your relationship with Barbie?
That's a funny question.
That's a good question.
What's my relationship with Barbie? Like,
yes.
Okay. I think what you mean is, have I ever had a Barbie doll? Yeah.
It's a more sophisticated way of saying that.
When I was a girl, I had some Barbies, yes. I have older sisters. One sister might be listening to this and she'll know what I'm saying. The other sister would either chew off the nose or the toes or the fingers, maybe take a lighter to them a little bit now and then. So when they had what they just describe as weird Barbie in the movie.
Yeah, they do.
Who's been scribbled on and burnt with the lighter. I was like, oh my God. Yes. So I had those. And then I also just wanted Barbies like every year for Christmas, birthday. Accumulated quite a few. Then I started making clothes for my Barbies. Not like cutesy clothes, but like tried to make clothes on my grandma's sewing machine. And then into my later teen years, still got one. I think close to my senior year of high school, one of my grandmas gave me a Barbie. I think that was the last one I ever had as new. And then I don't know what happened to them all. They all, over the course of my life, disappeared. Now, I wasn't the type to, I don't know. I had the Barbie van and I had a Bionic Woman car and a Barbie van.
You said you had the plane, too.
The airplane, yes.
Yeah.
But was that my memory or was that my friend? Maybe she had the airplane. I don't know. And played with them. But I don't remember it being like, obsessively playing with it.
Like, you weren't getting one every year, like you were collecting them, getting tons of them.
No, I mean, I had several dolls themselves, but I didn't have every toy. My friend had the pool, so we would play on her deck and fill the pool up with water. So, yeah, I mean, I just have, I think I live in the Midwest of America in the 70s, grew up in the 70s. So that's when I would have been playing with Barbie. And it was a very generic way of having a relationship with probably the most popular doll of the era. So nothing extraordinary, nothing lingering. Now, I did know someone from high school. I don't know if this to this day. Now, as I mentioned, I'm from the 70s, so I'm in my 50s. And there's a woman a little bit older than me who collected Barbies, and I think even had shelves built in her house, even through raising all of her children and everything, covered with all the newest Barbies in the boxes.
Oh, she's going to be rolling in dough now.
I don't know. I don't know what happened with that either. I'll have to ask her next time I see her.
They'll all be worth a fortune now because Barbie's back in vogue.
So when you say, what's my relationship with Barbie?
You played with them as a child.
Yours is sophisticated because hers was different than mine.
Yeah. So, yeah, you played with them.
Here's my question. What was your relationship with Barbie?
I never encountered one.
In your whole life?
No, but you know what? This is my relationship with Barbie. You know those Saturday morning cartoons that you watch? Mm-hmm. And then there was commercials in between. Well, you got to see all the commercials, didn't you? And that's what made you want certain toys.
Absolutely.
So I always wanted the Steve Austin $6 Million Man toy. And there was always Barbie commercials, so I was aware of Barbie. Like everybody in the world is aware of Barbie, right?
It seems like it.
The closest I got to having one, I guess, was I had the Jamie Summers $6 Million Woman.
No, Bionic Woman.
The Bionic Woman.
So did I.
That went with the Steve Austin toy. So I did have...
she didn't go with the Steve Austin toy. She was the Bionic Woman.
Yeah, but you know.
Separate from...
They're a pair.
No, they're not.
I think that was Mattel, maybe. Or Kenner. Maybe Kenner. I don't know. This Barbie movie wasn't what I expected, to be fair. We saw the trailer, right? And the trailer was the opening of the movie where they do the Stanley Kubrick thing.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't really tell you much about the movie. So that's all I kind of knew about it. I didn't realize what it was going to be.
How would you describe what it became?
I think it became more than a Barbie movie. So if you go into it thinking it's a Barbie movie, for instance, when you go in to watch the Lego movie, which is a similar type of premise when you watch it, it unfolds to be something more than what it is on the surface. And I think this is the same thing, right? Did you say people are boycotting this movie?
Some people I've heard will refuse to watch it, yeah.
Because it is...
I couldn't really figure it out.
Is it because they think it's preachy or...
They don't know because they haven't seen it.
Oh, I see.
So their opinion has absolutely no value.
But how can you boycott something if you don't know what you're boycotting?
Oh, because someone else told you to, and you're a fucking sheep.
Right.
Oh, sorry. There's your F word for the day.
So the movie has a message, right? Like you just said.
There's multiple messages, yeah.
And I thought they were all good messages.
I mean, who's going to argue with it? There's a little bit of heavy-handedness. I will, as we get into the story.
It's super heavy-handed, the whole thing, right? It's
right.
Spelled out to you what is going on.
And it isn't like a balanced view of the roles of males and females in the world. It isn't balanced at all. It isn't like, oh, look how great we all are. It's very leaned heavily into men try to rule the world under the idea of a patriarchy, and we suffer because of it.
And
females.
It's not untrue.
It's not untrue, but then the movie it's not balanced out, which is fine because the message is what it is. Like the story is what it is. And if you don't like that, then go watch one of a million other movies that don't support this idea and you'll be fine, right?
What I really liked about
Go watch Greed or Wall Street, or any of those other movies that I don't know why that popped into my head, but it's very testosterone-y to me.
Yeah.
So.
What I liked about it was, this is like a licensed product by Mattel, right? I mean, they own the Barbie thing. It's a story that they're telling. And it was warts and all, even including their business.
Correct.
They've had some embarrassing things in the past, and they bring them up in the movie, which I was surprised to see because, I guess it's that thing, isn't it? You either make fun of it or you...
acknowledge it and say, like, yeah, we had a pregnant Barbie that had an actual baby in the belly.
And then we cancelled that. Well, that was the thing. I thought we'd...
I mean, some of them were Sugar Daddy, Barbie, Ken, whatever he was.
These things are in the movie.
And they exist. They exist in the world.
Yeah. And there's like, what was it? They kind of showed you lots of different Barbies in the movie.
I don't know of them all, so I don't know which one. I mean, I'm assuming they referenced different.
They seem to reference everything.
Yeah.
Nothing got by me that, I mean, I don't know anything really about Barbie. So when he pulls out the luminous skates that he's wearing, I'm assuming that's a thing, but I
Must
don't get
be.
it.
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you get? Was there any like outfits that you recognized or?
No, not really, because I don't remember that. I never got themed Barbies that I recall.
Because I'm
I
assuming it's
did.
all iconic, right? Everything that we see in here.
I don't know. That's why I don't know.
Me neither. I knew nothing apart from, for some reason, I recognized a house that had a slide going down the side of it. So somebody had that along the way. That
Or you saw it in a commercial.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe somebody had it and I played, like, send my Star Wars figures down the slide or something. That kind
I
of thing.
don't know. I think that one was later. You wouldn't have been a child when you saw that one. You would have been a teenager / young adult.
You explain the, like, controversy. What would be a controversy here?
In this movie?
Yeah. Yes, I do see that, like, maybe men will look at it and go, well, they're just making fun of us.
Yeah. Is that controversial?
But I think they're making fun of everything in the movie, to be fair.
But are we supposed to be, super sensitive? Oh, sorry, men, that we're making fun of war and we're making fun of patriarchal ideologies. Sorry, we didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Is that what we're supposed to say?
I don't know.
Yeah, no. So I don't give a shit how anyone interprets it. It's trying to lay out this, like, what the mom. Okay, so what we have here is Barbie starts having thoughts of death and, like, existential dread. And what we find out is that the Barbie that she represents, which is like the generic Barbie, she's not any specific Barbie. You're linked somehow to all the children and people in the world who might be playing with that Barbie at that time. They don't explain it. They even say, don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Well, there's a woman in the world who has taken one of her teenage daughters' Barbies and set it aside. But now as she gets older, she actually works for Mattel. She's sad. She's kind of sad about the world. She draws pictures of Barbie who are dread in their minds and all this stuff. And now she's linked back to our Barbie world, Barbie. And that's how we connect to the real world.
Which is a good idea. I like it.
Right. So then she has to go out, and Barbie's under the impression that Barbie, the concept of Barbie and all of Barbie land, has made the real world a better place. She goes to the real world. That's not true.
No, it's the complete opposite.
Right. And the mom then at some point gives the speech that we all know as women, females, as you grow older. She says everything that's true. You can't be too skinny, but you can't not be skinny, and you can't want to be skinny, and you can't show that you want to be skinny. You can't be overly nice, but you can't be bitchy, and you have to be balanced for everyone. You have to make sure everyone feels good about themselves, but you're not supposed to brag about yourself, and you're supposed to be self-deprecating, and you're supposed to make sure that men feel good about themselves all the time, even if they don't make you feel good about yourself.
Right.
She lays down a few of these speeches in just the way that you say it in life. Like, yeah, that's bullshit. And yes, that's true. That is the heart of it. And that's like waking, and we're talking about being woke or whatever, or being enlightened or taken out, reprogrammed, that, you start thinking about it and you're like, yeah, why? Why is that? That's bullshit, right?
Yeah.
So Barbie's identity is tied up in being very generic, being pretty, being liked, being everybody's, she smiles and waves all the time and everything stays the same and she's just perfect and that's the way it is. These ideas are kind of swooping through her mind and she's like, wait, first of all, that equals nothing, right? To be nothing in the world except a pretty object that doesn't think too much, that doesn't cause any problems, that doesn't question whatever's going on around, whether it be the patriarchy or whatever it is, right? But that's what we're focused on. Then it's like, if I'm not that, then what am I? What can I be? And so that's really the heart of it, that you're thinking about what you've been told to be all your life because you're a woman. And we address what men are supposed to be as well. Yes, it's a caricature, but it's also the truth that men are like disposable, that they are kind of ridiculous and focused only on their own selves and each other and not really on women, right? You're like nothing to them and we're supposed to cater to them, but that makes them seem like really awful. They're not, right? So that's what they're saying, is that this idea that we've created of men is also not correct.
Yeah.
I think that's the only little tip of balance that we have. Dig deeper than being offended or feeling defensive about how they portray the men. Once Ken gets in his head that he wants to rule Barbie world, is that those archetypes of how men are supposed to be are also very sad.
I really enjoyed Ken when he said, like, he wants to rule Barbie world. He becomes ultra, like, male.
Well, stereotypically
male. But I really liked it when he said to her, when I realized it wasn't just about horses, I got bored of it.
Right.
I don't know.
Ken's a bit. He also has been brainwashed or taught or told to be kind of nothing, right?
Yeah, and basically when he runs across the real world and he sees men acting like men, he's like, holy shit, this is what I want to be.
Men acting like
men.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's like all in on that, brings that back to Barbie world, but then realizes that's not what I want.
I don't know. I think he does until someone calls him out on it.
That's why I feel there could be a sequel where Ken goes rogue again, apeshit.
Nah, that'd be boring.
Or maybe Alan. I never knew of Alan. Did you know Alan?
I think somewhere in my mind I did.
Yeah. Ken had a friend called Alan, apparently, that was a product/doll.
And that was Alan, discontinued.
Discontinued. And Alan is less important than Ken even. And Ken's very unimportant. So so it's real sad for Alan, because Alan's trying to figure out, when he's trying to get out and he's like, I'm trying to build, what was he trying to do? Build a wall?
No, he wasn't trying to build a wall. The men had decided they're going to build a wall so no one can leave ever again. All the Kens and whoever. He was
trying to figure out how not to have that happen.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It has many layers. It wasn't what I thought. I thought it was just going to be a basic Barbie movie. I know, but I'm
confused. What do you mean you think it was going to be basic?
Just Barbie? Like an adventure? Like what Disney would perhaps do with it?
With absolutely no meaning or value whatsoever.
Yeah, well, maybe not this hard, because it really goes hard for a meaning, doesn't it?
True.
Instead of just like a subtle little, here's some things. It's more like, no, after the first 10 minutes when we've introduced it all, we're actually going to tell you, well, some would say, to preach at you.
Yes.
I don't think it's that.
It is a little, so I can accept that, but...
I mean, it feels like that when she's giving you a big speech about... Yeah, there's a speech towards the end. That feels like that.
That's the one I was talking about, but that's the best part.
Yeah, because
is being able to put it into words exactly why the imbalance of Barbie's perfect world as a Barbie world and all girl power and all pink and all perfect and nothing changes and it's all just sort of like empty but pretty versus what we've represent here as the real world, where everywhere you turn, men are high-fiving each other and putting women down and shutting them up and shutting them down. Everyone understands that's the way it works. Those are the two extremes, right? So the idea is like, we need to like crack through that and get a little bit of both of those, maybe not. I don't know.
So that's what I liked about it, that it went for it instead of being like I say, Disney, if they made something like this, it would have a little message, but it'd be a bit wishy-washy in between the lines. This one's more like, here's your message, and you can't miss it because it's right there. In fact, the narrator will even draw. They've got Helen Mirren as a narrator occasionally, and she'll even make a point of saying, hey, this is what you're supposed to be thinking now, which I thought was quite funny. So let's get on to the cast here. Margot Robbie plays Barbie. What do you think of Margot?
I like her. I mean, I always have different experiences with Margot. The
last film she was in, Babylon, that was an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the choices she makes. She's good. Ryan Gosling, who's my man crush, plays Ken. I find him amazing in all the movies he's in. So, including this, which is very different for him, right?
True.
Even when he's doing a musical number in this movie, he is really charismatic and funny because he actually sings a song, doesn't he? He has a little...
yes.
It's kind of like a cross between Grease and West Side Story, the thing that he's doing. It's really, really quite funny. I like that dance that they keep doing where it looks like they're digging. So did you like him, Ryan?
Yes. I mean, I'm middle of the road on Ryan, but yeah, I liked him. I feel like Sometimes I have to measure by, okay, who else could do this? If anyone else, or did he bring something like really specific? I mean, he's him.
He's really ripped.
Well, he wasn't. A lot of that was makeup. Did you not notice?
No.
Yeah, a lot of it was makeup.
I thought he was just super ripped.
He might be, but they were accentuating it.
We've got Simu Liu as Ken. He's the guy who plays Shang-Chi. And he's another Ken. There are a bunch of Kens in this movie. There are also a bunch of Barbies. What do you think of that guy?
He was funny because they were, their Kens are
like
always
a rival,
sort of competing with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, so here's the thing about Barbie world, Barbie land, whatever. Women, the president is woman, the entire government is women, everyone who builds everything is women, they write all the books, they build all the buildings. The men then are just sort of petty and jealous of each other and kind of competitive with each other, very shallow, very vapid, very, what's the word? Flaccid, we'll say.
Yeah.
But yet they have that thing of competing with each other, sort of jealousy and whatnot, whereas the females are portrayed as not having that.
Yes.
It's kind of interesting.
We've got Kate McKinnon as Weird Barbie. I'm guessing you liked her.
Yeah, I loved her.
Because of the deal.
Yes, loved her. Loved her, and I love Weird Barbie.
Yeah.
She wasn't weird enough, but I get what they're going for.
I like the idea of that because that is clearly a thing. Because I had there was definitely some toys in my box that were the weird ones that I'd messed up with. They'd been dug into the ground a little bit too much and they had soil all over them or, that kind of thing.
That's not kind of weird that she was, honey. Her hair was burned.
No, I'm talking about the concept of...
She had markers all over her face where someone had drawn her makeup for her, but then they didn't even make her weird enough. That was the only thing I wanted, for her to actually be weirder.
Her hair should have been more messed up.
And it didn't look burned.
No.
So the little girl in reality was burning her hair. So I would but hey, that's nitpicking.
Michael Cera plays Alan. I like Michael Cera. He turned up in Twin Peaks, believe it or not. Remember?
No.
He was the son on the motorcycle. He turns up.
Oh, yeah.
And in this, Alan, I quite like the character of Alan. I was on his side.
I can see that. I can understand that.
I just felt for him.
I see that, and I'm going to follow that by saying Alan's quite...
I just found him very sad.
Nondescript?
Yeah, he's just Alan.
But you identify with this person.
I identified with how pushed aside he was. Like, he was really...
Oh, but also he kicked ass. Because in the end, he was so angry that he was able to kick all the asses of the construction people building the wall.
That was awesome about Alan. Will Ferrell plays the Mattel CEO. So when it goes into the real world, he's the head of the company.
Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Exactly, Will Ferrell.
Yeah. I think he fit his job that he had to do.
I mean, if you want to portray real world, then no, it was all very...
I mean, he's goofy.
Too goofy for that, but I get what they're going for.
And then we've got like our little family. America Ferrera plays Gloria and her daughter is Ariana Greenblatt as Sasha. So they're the two, like the main focal characters here, aren't they really?
Yeah.
And they're the real world people who were playing with the Margot Robbie Barbie. I thought they were both great.
Very good. Very good.
And I think they had some of the best lines and clearly the best speech in the movie she has.
Yes.
So yeah, I think they did well. And then I also put down Ray Perlman as Ruth.
Rhea Perlman, yep.
And that scene where she meets her in that like little room, it was really touching and poignant.
Because she plays Ruth, the lady who invented Barbie and named her after her own daughter. And then she briefly says, well, I had problems with the IRS. But that's a whole other movie. You know the old lady on the bench earlier where she said, you're really pretty? Mm-hmm.
Was that old lady somebody too?
I don't think so, unless it was the real lady. But
yeah, I was thinking that.
I wonder if she's dead, though.
Yeah.
Because he said she's a ghost.
Yes, true. So directed by Greta Gerwig, she directed Lady Bird and Little Women, bunch of other things. What do you think of the directing?
That was really good, because I feel like there was a lot of detail that had to be wrangled by, as I like to call them, the project manager of the movie. And the details are insane.
Yeah, and it's not a CGI movie either.
Yeah, I feel like there's some CGI, but I feel like when you get that as the outcome, the person in charge, essentially, the creative and practical, I was going to say dictator, but no, director.
Similar.
There's somebody there with a vision and a certain standard that they expect everyone to live up to. And I think she achieved it.
IMDb reviews, what are those?
Those are reviews that you're going to read of people who really didn't like this movie. And you're going to give them a funny voice.
The first person says, a word of advice. Don't waste your money and time going to see this movie. I went with the whole family, including my 12-year-old daughter and wife, and they asked to leave before it was over, but it was so bad. I think it's been 30 years since I walked out of a movie theatre, but this was disjointed, boring, and completely sexist to both men and women. An unwatchable mess. Save 2 hours of your life.
Unwatchable mess.
The second guy says, this movie was so bad. No depth, sexist to both men and women, cheesy and overacted. And the song sung by Ken, I'm Just Ken, was well written and performed. That was the best part of the movie.
Are we saying that both of these reviews so far are by men, or you don't know?
Have no idea.
Male persons, right.
I could give you the username and you could guess.
No, that's all right. I'm just wondering, there's a theme here. From their point of view, they have to point out, they have to make the effort to type either with their little thumbs or on a keyboard that this is sexist to everybody, right? So they're not just saying what they're making it very clear.
Yes.
That them disliking it isn't just about the sexism against the men. We want to make that clear in my little review.
And the final guy says, I watched this at home yesterday. In the first 30 minutes, it was very boring, and then it became unwatchable. It's so mediocre that I don't understand what's going on. How did it become such an insufferable mess? It's a failing attempt to make a movie. Stupid, senseless piece of garbage.
Oh my.
So yeah, these people love this movie.
Stupid, and senseless.
All three of those people loved it. Extras, we did watch one of the extras, and it was the making of the sets and stuff, right? And how they did some of the special effects.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of practical stuff. They actually built it in a big soundstage, which was really cool. And it's very detailed, including those sight gags, which I really liked. Like when she opens the fridge, it's just a flat plane with food in it. You know?
Well, it's not. We all know what it is.
Like a
those
decal.
of us, those of us who played with dolly things like that, and I bet even the $6 Million Man rocket had decals.
It did, and I remember because you have
to put them on yourself. Usually,
when you presented with, I have to put these stickers on my toy myself, and I might get it wrong. It always used to stress me out because I wanted them just right, like it was on the box. I didn't want to randomly put them on. Yeah,
I never felt too stressed out. But I get what you're saying.
Let's give Barbie a score. You know what? I'm going to give Barbie an 8 out of 10.
Me too.
Hey, we're on the same page. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very funny. And I get, I like the message of it. I think it's good. Am I woke? Have I suddenly become woke?
Would that bother you?
No. I mean, isn't it better to be awake?
It is. Yes. I have no idea why that's an insult.
It actually seems better to me. Do I want to be dopey and lazy and not knowing anything? Or do I want to know stuff?
There is balance, right?
Yeah.
So there is the tipping point where someone, like we're saying in this, is not super balanced, and that for some people is a problem. So what you have to do is extract what you want to know and what you want to learn and what speaks to you, and let the rest go. Right? And then if that means that you identify with the idea that men shouldn't be high-fiving, horse riding, beer drinking, sports loving jocks, which you are none of those things, right? And you identify with I'm not that, and that doesn't need to be everybody. I don't know why that's an insult to anyone else. No. Right? If you're, and me, I'm not like most people, and I'm not like a Barbie person, but I understand the mentality of the message. So I don't feel woke either, but I do like knowing, or thinking about different ideas.
I mean, it's good to be awake though.
It's good to be awake. It's also good to just think about things that you didn't think about before. That's really not a bad thing. Yeah.
So next week, we are going to look at a movie, and it's The Meg 2.
The Meg.
With Jason Statham and probably some very large sharks, right?
Yeah.
Movie recommendations. I am going this week, a Margot Robbie. The first time I ever saw Margot Robbie in a movie, The Wolf of Wall Street, which I think is a really awesome movie, actually. And Ryan Gosling, probably the first time I was introduced to him, Drive, which is a fantastic, fantastic 10 out of 10 movie for me. I'd probably give Wolf of Wall Street 9 out of 10, to be fair. I like both of those. So, Wolf of Wall Street and Drive.
And my recommendations are, let me get over here, be like Ron Burgundy. I can only read what I see.
Yes.
So I've been going back to science fiction movies of the 21st century. And I don't know why I have this particular one on the list, but it is what it is. Because you know what? I'm running out. I hit 2023 and I still have a few weeks to go. So in 2019, we had the Lego movie, the second part. I guess you could say it's science fiction because...
Was it called the second part?
I think so.
I think it was just called the Lego Movie 2, right?
I think it was called the second part.
Oh, okay.
That's what I have. So that's what we're going with.
All right.
And then I have 65, which I might have mentioned before.
Yeah.
Right? I don't remember.
That was Kylo Dino Ren.
He did not play a dinosaur.
Dino Ren.
Quick premise of that movie. Humans came to this planet 65 million years ago, very highly advanced. One dude gets stuck here with his kid. Maybe the DNA got, what was it, a volcano?
Something. Meh.
Got merged with the DNA. I don't even know. I didn't mind it because I like that kind of weird shit, but...
Mm-hmm.
And then I have Avatar Way of the Water from 2023.
I did like that.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse 2023.
Excellent.
Exorcist Believer 2023.
Shitty.
See, I'm so up to date that I have last
That was
week's.
literally last week.
Yeah. I don't know about shitty, but it...
Nah, I'm going for shitty.
It has weaknesses.
Can't deal with it. I don't want to ever think or speak about it again.
You might have to if they do another one.
Maybe. Oh, yeah. Oh, God. All right. That's the recommendations for this week. I've been playing some Spider-Man 2 and Alan Wake 2. Not really much to say apart from I'm progressing through them. They're both awesome. So this fall has been amazing for video games, let me say. There's so many. Oh, a new video game that's coming up this week is RoboCop, which they brought back Peter Weller to do the voice of RoboCop. And it's like a sequel to the original RoboCop. Are you a fan of that movie series?
Remember series? No. In the first one I watched,
yeah.
I don't remember it being like, you know.
The first one's funny as well as really violent.
I think it probably blended in with all the other movies I probably shouldn't have been watching as a kid-ish.
Yeah.
I don't know what year it came out, but you know what I'm saying.
So yeah, a RoboCop, it seems like it would suit a video game very well. So I'm interested to see what that's like. Sidtar, what's for dinner?
I forgot. Oh, we have Subway on there?
Subway.
So that could be it.
It'll be something. We'll eat something. We'll eat some
food that will be vegetarian. We're not vegan, but we're vegetarian. That's why we're telling you what we're eating. Because people keep saying, well, what do you eat? Oh, I could never not eat meat. Okay. Congratulations. Congratulations. Do you want me to get out a little pom-pom and a cheerleading thing and be like...
And a piece of meat?
You have something to say about what I'm eating. Great.
And what is your advice?
My advice is not advice today.
Your advice was much longer 10 minutes ago.
It was, but it was taking up too much space.
I see.
I had to cut it down, but I'll just tell you what it is. Because I've also posted it on my Facebook feed. Because I'm getting sick and tired of this standard of, good enough on everything. I get it on some level. It's hard to make an effort when nobody seems to give a shit, right? When you're doing a thing or making a thing or doing a job and you feel like no one cares. So why? Well, it's good enough. It's done, right?
Yeah.
That applies to me sometimes too. But here's what I wrote. Sometimes good enough is good enough, but not all the time. Be better, do better, make it better. Take the time and put in some effort. Or not, because whatever, right? It's not a directive. It's an idea. So like the quality of what you're doing, what I'm doing right now, what you're doing, when you try to get the sound perfect on these podcasts, or I'm trying really hard to learn how to grow really interesting tomatoes and peppers, or making a slideshow for a get together for family, and I want to do everything with the nice sizes and make everything look good, right? None of that really matters. Not really. Like we're not going to change the universe, right? We're just not. We're arrogant humans. We think we're going to change shit, and we do some things like we cure some diseases and we build some big buildings and we solve some human problems. And don't pretend like all the other problems we're solving are for nature, because they're not. It's either problems we've started or problems we just identify and we think we can do things better or whatever. So we're not really changing everything. Like no matter how you do the thing, no matter how good your podcast is, if it's mediocre or it's like award-winning podcast.
Similar to ours.
We will die someday, and everyone else will die, and the earth will keep circling around, and the sun will keep burning until it's done, right? So that's one big thought in my mind. So then the question is, so why bother doing anything? Why bother doing anything well, right? What's the point? I mean, it's a good question. And I am not an optimist. I'm not that person. I'm also not a pessimist. I think realistically, all things end. Life comes and goes. So will us, and so will the universe and all that jazz. But I do trust in an idea that we can do better just because it's better, right? You listen to the podcast. You know other people listen to the podcast. You want it to sound better because now you know that it can sound better. And you've heard something else and you're like, oh, I want to make mine better, right? In the scheme of all things, it doesn't matter. But it matters to you and your experience of this thing we do in our life. I do the same thing with all the stuff that I do. I don't always do better. Trust me. And sometimes I have no excuses. I do a thing because in the moment it's like, oh my God, I just want to get through this moment and I want to move on. And it's not better. It just is done, or it is. I'm aware that my better will never cure anything or solve any big human race problems, right? I'm good at a lot of things, but not those things. So I will cheer on the people who take on that standard of doing all those things beyond good enough, right? Because if you want to cure a disease or help someone figure out how to heal a bone better, you don't want it to just be like, that's fine. You can be crooked the rest of your life, or you can have pain the rest of your life. We've done it good enough, right? No, I want those people to excel and go beyond. That's fine. We won't all be that. I'm not that. When I do make an effort on things that people say, why are you trying so hard? Why are you doing this like this? You're making everyone else look bad. Or why bother? It's because I get overwhelmed with the idea or the feeling that right here, right now, I'm alive, and that like has value just because we're here. Everything is here. This is it. This is all there is, right? This reality is all there is. And the experience of being alive has value. And this moment, with you watching your recording as we speak, watching the voices to make sure everything's good, me sitting here trying to edit photographs so they look nice, and it matters simply because we're here. And this moment matters, and the moments in the future when you know someone will listen, and I know someone will look at these pictures. We've got like church bells ringing in the background.
Why?
I don't know. It's Thursday?
Yeah.
At 4 o'clock. It's the testing system. That's what it is.
It's very loud.
Emergency
it's probably
test.
right on the recording.
That's fine. Well, see, those people are trying to be better. They want to make sure the testing system for tornadoes is working. So the bottom line here is I just don't want good enough to be everything that surrounds me and everyone who surrounds me. Because I feel like your life, your moments of your life deserves more than that. Sometimes good enough is fine, right? If you're making a cup of tea and I haven't perfectly sugared it up or put the perfect amount of milk in it, just drink the tea, right? It's fine. It's good enough for now. That's the kind of stuff that I can let go. But if I'm making something or doing something for someone or to achieve something, I don't want good enough to be the foundation of everything. I just don't think that's reasonable. And that is it.
Well said. Well done. Thank you. ascully.com. That's the place you can go to listen to this podcast. You can also go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram if you want to see our social media. We're also on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, YouTube. Anywhere that podcasts are available, you'll find it. Just type After the Show Movie Podcast. We're also on smart speakers if you have one of those. You can email feedback to ascully@ascully.com. Do not email Sid Talk. She doesn't want your email. And finally, stay classy, Barbie and Ken and Alan.
And I'm going to say think for yourself, because if you're not doing it, someone will.